2024. It was a year. And as you probably are aware, it had many songs on the Sing It Live channel, a number of which involved me, Crafty, and whenever I'm involved in a song, yes, there's a behind the sound video here on the Crafty Music Tips YouTube channel. And so I'm going to go through my top 5 takeaways that I got as a musician with the whole music tips thing out of the year 2024. I hope that you've got a bunch yourself. If you do, leave me a comment below. But for now, let's get to number 1 in no particular order. During the Back in Black. God, we actually did Back in Black. How awesome. For that behind the sound video, I took an opportunity to hang out with the wonderful multi-instrumentalist Stuart Day. And he told me many wonderful things, but this one particular one, it's kind of mirrors why I like learning cover songs.
I like playing covers. I like writing my own songs and playing them, but I also like playing covers because you always learn something about how these people put a song together and, you know, how melody works with a chord progression and how you can twist a bog standard chord progression and just make it a little bit more interesting. You know, Neil Young's a bit the same. I'm a big Neil Young fan, and he often just chucks another little chord in there somewhere that you're not expecting. And you think, gee, that's good. That's Neil.
Good on you, Stewie. Now, for the second one, I chatted with Mel McCaig, wonderful vocalist, and in the behind the sound video to the song Love Will Keep Us Together, we get into the difference between singing lead vocals and backing vocals, and you know, some of the things that make the backing vocals job an interesting art in itself. For me, it was a new one, and so I found it quite the challenge just because it's just so last minute. Thankfully, everybody was being very patient with me and just let me just quickly do the thing that I needed to do. It was mainly just those backing vocals while I'm still playing guitar at the same time, doing that juggling act.
I don't know how you do it. I just have to sing. I don't have to play at the same time. And the interesting thing about backing vocals, I was thinking about that after that session, is people really underrate backing vocals and how important they are. And I think how much of a specialized skill it is. I love backing vocals. I've sung heaps of BBs, and when backing vocals are arranged well and performed well, they are such an important part of a recording. And you can't necessarily just kind of jump on and, you know, throw a harmony in there. It's not like that. They're really carefully arranged and getting the blend, and, you know, it's really important. So anyone who can do that and play an instrument at the same time is doing very well, I think.
Well, thank you. And in your case, you've done a lot of lead vocals and backing vocals as well, because like I said, that's when we met. You were there doing backing vocals. What is, if you had to pick a favorite, doing lead or doing backing vocals, and as well, like, what's the sort of preparation and the stuff that goes into doing either? Like, what's the difference?
Well, I mean, obviously everyone wants to sing lead, you know, you always want to be the superstar. That's just everyone's ego, I think. But yeah, I mean, so I love singing lead, of course, if it's a song that I really connect with. But I love singing backing vocals because it feels like you're an instrument, you're part of the band. You know, you're making sounds and singing lines and creating chords that, you know, it's like you're one of the instruments in the band, and that's what I love about it. And it sometimes takes a lot more work because if you're singing with other people, as you know, other backing vocalists, you've got to be singing the same thing, and you've got to be making sure your harmonies are tight and your phrasing and blending your tone, and you know, there's so much that goes into making backing vocals work well. It can actually sometimes be more time consuming, but yeah, and it's a lot less pressure, obviously, if you're not out the front. But
I got a feeling that you and I are kindred spirits in this way because, as you described it, a jack of all, master of none. And I feel like that, you know, my musical tastes reflect my personality in that I like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So, yes, it's nice to sing lead sometimes, for me personally. But then if that's all I did, I'd probably get a bit bored and a bit stifled with it.
yeah,
That's
totally.
not having that other way of being able to use your voice.
And to be completely honest, it's also just about getting the work where you can get it. You know, if there's a gig, you know, I've done a lot of touring as a backing vocalist, you know, as a lead vocalist too, but, you know, sometimes you can't be all that choosy. You've got to be versatile and go, yep, if that's 6 weeks of work and it's BBs, I'll do it, you know. So you've got to kind of put your ego out of it a little bit and say, well, if you want the work, you've got to be able to adapt to whatever's out there.
Now, if you've watched enough Sing It Live videos, you'll know that Mel is a regular singer. She's done many a song. And in 2024, she had a chance to sing with Andy Seymour, doing a duet with him singing You've Lost That Loving Feeling. Now, I caught up with Andy, and he mentions, you know, how good Mel is, but also why it's important that the band's on their A game.
It was a very relaxed session, wasn't it?
Mm.
Even Mel, you know, some of those notes she hits are like, seriously?
Mm.
And I don't think we did any more than 2 takes, did we? It was all done and dusted, and bang, Mel goes, yeah, I'm happy with that. And we're all like, oh, she's happy with that.
There.
It was great.
Mm.
It was a great song, great song.
What do you remember about the day, in addition to how many takes we did?
It's funny, she's probably going to get angry at me, but when we showed up, sort of, you know, standing and talking, whatever else, Mel's going, I'm not going to have very many takes in me. This is a big sing. And it is. It's epic. You know, some of the notes she hits are crazy. She goes, I'm not going to be good for very many, so let's get this right. If we did any more than 3 takes, I swear, I just don't think we did. But after all of them, she's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And I'm looking at her going, aren't you coughing blood yet? Good Lord.
On you, Andy. Now, number 4, I caught up with Sean Holton for the first time. I had a couple of times catching up with him this year, but for the first time, we chatted about the song Freedom by George Michael that he sang ever so wonderfully. And without his skill of memorizing lyrics, we might not have been talking about doing it. And so Sean talks about how he goes about memorizing lyrics, and I found it quite profound. In regards to this song, what was your preparation like, and what was it like in comparison to preparing for other Sing It Live songs?
I have been notoriously loose with lyrics in songs forever. And so that's been a new skill that I've had to figure out. And in the very early days of me jumping into Sing It Live stuff, really freaked me out because you got to sing the right words, man. You got to. So I've had to come up with a new method for myself to learn, like particularly Freedom. There's a lot of words. It's a 6-minute song.
Yeah.
There's 2 verses, a really long bridge, and it's not like the lyrics are quite fast as well. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of syllables to get down. So I've had to figure out how to get as many words memorized in my brain in the shortest amount of time.
Lyric learning for me is a struggle. That's not one of my specialties. What's your process? What's your method?
So I can't have the lyrics in front of me. I'm not diagnosed, but I have some sort of attentional deficit going on. I can't karaoke. I can't sing, listen, and read at the same time. So I have to sit down. I have to start the song from the very beginning. First couple of words, all right, cool, got it. Back to the beginning. Next 4 words, all right, back to the beginning. And this is where I have to be really honest with myself, because basically I'm training myself to be able to get it all in one, you know? So if I get halfway through the second verse and I fluff one word, I've got to go right back to the beginning. I can't be doing this thing where that word flies by and I'm like, oh, I'll get that next time. So I just keep ironing out the creases. It takes me about an hour to memorize the lyrics of a song like Freedom. It took me about an hour. Some songs a bit luckier. Other songs, you know, there's ones where you're like, we already know all the choruses, you know, because you've heard it that many times, you know all the choruses, that's fine. So it's usually verses and bridges that are the tough one. So yeah, I just iron it out. And then eventually it just becomes second. I can still remember all of the lyrics for all of the Sing It Live songs that I've done because of that. They just become ingrained. As long as I start at the beginning, I will get the whole way through.
Yeah, so you might have thought, really? So he just listens to it from the start and then gets up to a point where he needs to work on, so he goes back to the start again and then he keeps doing that rinse and repeat. You might be thinking, Crafty, you thought that was profound? Yeah, I did. Because, I mean, look, I've probably done something like that before, but, you know, he shuts himself off into a room and really focuses on it. You know, I'll do it while I'm driving in my car, or like, I don't know. I just found that profound, and I'm yet to master the skill. So, Sean, thank you for showing me the way. I've just got to work at it. All right, so number 5, the last music tip memory from the Behind the Sounds from 2024. Now, we've got to go with the head honcho, Darren Mullen, surely.
To pay the bills as a musician, as a, you know, you're doing it as a career, it's a hard way to pay your bills. And I know this because it was my life. I started playing keyboards when I was 8. I started playing in hotels when I was old enough. And sometimes, well, a lot of the times we do stuff and we play music that we weren't always 100% aligned with because the crowd want it, where it's our job to entertain.
So yeah, Darren does have a point. You know, us musicians, we do have to give of ourselves. We don't necessarily get an opportunity to be playing, singing, performing songs that are our number one choice all the time. And so the wonderful thing is that there hasn't been a song that I've been asked to come and join in the fun in Darren's studio, whether it be a song that I'm not really that into. There hasn't been one that I've thought, oh, what a waste of time, or I hated that experience. So thank you very much, Darren, for involving me in 2024. And you watching this, leave me a comment below. Let me know, what was your favorite song that we did in 2024? What was the number one thing that you got out of these Behind the Sound videos from 2024? And let's hope that there is a huge stack more in 2025 and beyond. Now, this is yet another Crafty Music Tips video. There is a huge stack of other music tips related videos here that you can go check out on this channel. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the Sing It Live channel and go check out a bunch of the many other songs that you can check out that is not limited to one particular year. So I'll just leave you by saying that you don't have to do every single thing right now with your music. Just do the next thing, whatever that is. I'll see you in another one of these music tips related videos very soon. Wherever you are, take care. I'll see you soon. Cheers.